Chapter 359. I had heard rumors that Sir Ale is a promising talent with a bright future, but seeing him in person today, I indeed think it's true. May I ask where you hail from? A promising talent with a bright future. They couldn't outright say Kishir's commoner lover, so they beat around the bush, making it all the more ridiculous. The Central Region. Oh, the Central Region? Then this must be your first time in the West. How do you find it? Tenu is as renowned as the capital, a city with a rich tradition. If they had considered the current situation in the proud Tenu, they wouldn't have been able to speak so confidently. Though it wasn't new, it strangely soured the taste in his mouth that, despite the uproar of the recent incident, the nobles seemed completely disinterested in its cause. Although Yudhir said nothing, Baron Wilhelm's younger sibling, a married couple, prattled on about how impressive Tenu and the West were. They spoke with elegant words, but they couldn't completely conceal the condescending energy in their eyes. When they finally began to offer to introduce Yudhir to a few famous places among the Tenu nobility, Pruel intervened and cut off the conversation. I have already introduced Tenu to Sir Ale sufficiently, so there is no need to continue. Oh, now that you mention it, indeed, the first prince's judgment is truly exceptional, perhaps because you inherit the blood of Duke Tane. Baron Wilhelm's younger sibling quickly praised Pruel and smiled. The judgment of the first prince, it's certainly exceptional. To hear it likened to his father's judgment, who was oblivious to his household's ruin and gambled everything away, was almost an insult from Pruel's perspective. Let's talk about the cavalry then, the heroes of the West who saved the great serene forest. I had many questions even before coming here. Is that so? Sir Ale is also an awakener, right? What abilities do you possess? Pruel frowned, about to open his mouth again, but Yudhir stopped him with a glance. This gathering was clearly orchestrated to elicit some reaction from Kishir and himself. Although grateful for Pruel standing up for him, he had been in far more dangerous situations. From the perspective of Commander Yudhir and Ale, this was nothing. Before answering, he glanced to the side and saw Kishir, who had been subtly watching them even while engaging with Baron Wilhelm's couple. Kishir flashed a faint smile, almost undetectable by others, as if telling him to do as he pleased. He knew Yudhir needed no help in this situation. I use the sword a little and can control some nature-related powers. Like fire or water? Yes. I would like to see that sometime, but I guess not here. Pity. I once heard a maid say that water summoned by Awakener isn't real water and you can't drink it. Well, I'm sure that's not true, but I'm curious. Is that so? Yudhir looked at Baron Wilhelm's younger brother, who had said this. His glass was almost empty. Yudhir moved a finger slightly, exerting his power. A stream of water, created from thin air, gracefully spiraled into the glass. The Baron's younger brother screamed. In his shock, he tossed the glass, causing his wife to shriek in turn. The distant servants gasped in surprise, and the shattered glass and water scattered all around. What is this sudden mischief? Baron Wilhelm, who had not properly seen what had happened while focusing all his attention on Kishir, directed his anger at Yudhir. Yudhir calmly responded, deflecting the gazes of those looking at him. I simply filled an empty glass with water created by the Awakener's power because you wondered if you could drink it. I thought you would be pleased to say you have tasted water made by an Awakener if the same thing happened again. But it's a shame the glass has broken. What? If you bring a new glass, I can fill it again. Just let me know. It was a bit stifling to use even a slight amount of power, but filling one more glass of water was not a problem. People in Wilhelm's family lost their words at Yudhir's attitude, talking as if it was nothing. A moment ago, the one they inwardly found amusing now felt like an incomprehensible, unknown monster. Baron Wilhelm tried to get angrier, but Kishir spoke even more quickly. Oh dear, it's such a shame that our cute assistant finally demonstrated his ability, and it's only a glass of water that frightens you so. Your siblings must all have weak constitutions, Baron. That What a noble and joyful opportunity to receive a glass of water filled by the hero who saved the great serene forest, isn't it? In the end, Baron Wilhelm agreed to Kishir's words with a pale, embarrassed face. Yes, Your Highness's words are right. My siblings have been weak since childhood and have caused concern. I apologize. Baron Wilhelm's sibling stood up from his seat, trembling. His eyes barely looked at either in fear before moving away. A new glass is unnecessary. My wife and I need to change our clothes, so we will have to leave our seats for a while. He hastily left with his wife, half bowing to Kishir. Those who remained could no longer dare to look at either as they had before, except for Kishir, who raised his glass with a smile. It was only Pruel who had bitten his lip to hold back laughter. The 20th wedding anniversary dinner of Baron Wilhelm ended in an extremely chilly atmosphere. The Baron had actually intended to obtain a cooperation agreement from Kishir first, but in the end he could hardly even mention it. After the dinner ended and the Baron had excused himself for urgent business, Pruel followed the two. Standing at the crossroad leading to the annex, he laughed for a while, avoiding others' attention. Dane's first prince, it seems your mind was quite refreshed by what happened earlier. Call me Elle. I'm fed up with being called by my family name even here. Pruel, responding with a smile and taking a long breath as he looked up at the night sky, seemed much more comfortable as his neatly tied hair was tousled by the wind. Now that I have become an adult and am likely to be the successor, they fawn over me like that. But it wasn't like that when I was young. Often mistaken for a bastard because of my face, unlike my siblings or parents. Is that so? To me, you look astonishingly like the portrait of the first Duke Dane. Yes, those who know history well are aware that I resemble my ancestors more, but not everyone knows that. After answering, Pruel turned to Yther and smiled mischievously. I'm glad I didn't overstep. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to see your brilliant move. Thank you for letting me enjoy such a great spectacle. You're welcome. Ah, but I have only just remembered. I actually have more to say about Neblin, but I didn't get to mention it because of them. Was there a change? As Kishir asked, Pruel wore a thoughtful expression, muttering, I'm not sure if it can be called a change, but something odd happened yesterday. Pruel had most of his meals brought to his room. It was a natural thing since he had to take care of Neplin. Neplin would typically be highly guarded or hidden when others entered the room, but yesterday he did not show such behavior towards the servant who brought his meal. Pruel was quite surprised to watch Neplin throughout the process of the servant moving the dishes, even smelling them from a distance like a cat sniffing. I might have ignored it before, but considering our previous experience, I thought it would be best to mention it. Since it had been almost confirmed that Neplin possessed the ability to distinguish awakeners besides the ability to transform, it seemed necessary to pay attention to this information. Was the servant someone you have seen before? It was the first time. When I asked, they said it was a new person. Kishir's gaze turned towards the main house. If they are just an awakener hiding their identity, there is no reason to be alarmed. But considering the timing, I have several thoughts. Yes, that's why, using Neplin as a reason, I instructed that the servant be sent to my room for meals or any tasks from now on. If you wish to see them, please let me know. If they are dangerous, we shouldn't waste time as it won't do us any good. Shouldn't we investigate now? At Yidhir's words, Kishir lightly scratched his chin. That's true, but I have people waiting for my report as soon as I return. You must have urgent matters to attend to. Yidhir was already aware of this. While he was making all sorts of useless preparations to attend Baron Wilhelm's dinner, Nathan Zuckerman and Ever had returned and conveyed that they each had matters to report. Then I will go alone. Kishir's eyebrows twitched slightly. Before he could speak, Yidhir forcefully opened his mouth. Don't worry, I will only gone for a short time. In the end, Kishir smiled softly. I know best that my assistant is not an easy person. Go ahead.